Welcome back, Washoe Buckeyes fans, episode 346 of the best Iowa podcast to ever go to air. And I'm bringing that kind of energy to today's podcast because we're back in season, boys, and Nebraska is back to doing Nebraska fucking things. And you can't make me more happy than getting to kick back and watch Nebraska in week 0 take a loss, favored by 2 touchdowns. And there's nothing sweeter that brings more joy to my crooked little heart. Fuck Nebraska. Hawks by a million. It's game week, folks. And this is the energy I'm bringing.
Turn it up, baby. Turn it up. Let's go. Come on now. I can see the smirk on Kevin's face. I can feel the energy. It's not the fake Gervais juice that he used to bring to practice. It's real juice, baby. It's game week, South Dakota State. Let's go. Let's have a day.
Just feels good, man. It just feels good to watch college football and to watch Nebraska lose after Kirk Herbstreit picks them to win the West. It just feels good. It feels good. Things are right.
Dude, how's it feel to be Kirk Herbstreit right now? He's got to face the music.
Asshole.
Probably not good. He's got some sort of heart condition he had going on or something.
Yeah, dude, he had blood clots that almost killed him.
Old Herbie's gotta watch the old ticker.
You got to lay off.
Especially picking Nebraska to win the West, idiot.
Well, is that a cause? So that could be cause and effect there. You know, is his health declining? So that's why he picked Nebraska. He's starting to go senile like his buddy Lee Corso. How about Lee Corso, by the way?
Maybe he's suicidal and he wanted to force one of them blood clots through.
Probably not. Or is it he's picking Nebraska? He's doing this show. I tell you what, those guys, they don't live they're like coaches. They don't live a healthy lifestyle either. They don't sleep. They travel.
He's on private jets flying across the country all the damn time.
Yeah.
I think they live out of that RV.
Yeah. I mean, and all they do is watch tape. Like he only watches tape because they actually do know their shit. Like they know all the players on all the teams.
Herbstreit for sure doesn't hit the bus though, because he's back and forth from the set to the primetime game on PJs every single week.
He's got a new contract. He's with Amazon.
Amazon,
on the Thursday night football games now.
Yeah. He signed the big bucks for Amazon Thursday Night Football.
Oh man, if Amazon's writing the checks, it's not a little number.
I'm actually really curious. I'm going to pull that up in a second, but did you guys?
Yeah, his schedule before that was, he'd do College Game Day wherever it was, fly to wherever he was doing the primetime game that night.
Yep.
And then, I think I was listening to him on Pat McAfee's podcast one time, and he's like, yeah, then I'd fly home, see my family for a little bit, and then it'd be back out to wherever the next College Game Day was.
Okay, so guess the number for his.
Give me the years first.
No,
or is it just a total contract, or is it per year?
I believe this is per year, 5 years.
Yep, 5 years, $100 million.
No.
Okay,
5 years. I'm saying 5 years. I'm saying he's get about 10 a year. 5 years for 50.
Right on the nose.
Yeah.
For just his
Evan knows his shit, man.
For just his Thursday night work during each season.
They don't even have all the Thursday night football games, do they? Or do they?
Amazon? I have no idea.
I thought they only had half of them.
It'll be interesting. I'm sure I could pull that up too while you guys we go off on another subject. I'll figure it out. The New York Jesus Christ. The New York Post reported Herbstreit will make 10 million plus for his Thursday night work alone. Oh, and his ESPN deal keeps him under contract for 5 years with a raise. Professionally, adding a regular NFL game expands Herbstreit's portfolio and allows him to check a box off his bucket list. That is serious money, boys and girls. That is serious money. Worth it? Probably.
I mean, I don't know. Apparently his heart's failing. So
10 mil a year, dude, 10 mil a year on top of that College Game Day money that he's getting. Come on. And
yeah, but now you think about it. Now he's Thursday night, wherever that pro game is.
Bucket, take a couple blood thinners and get on the private jet. Then
he's on the jet to wherever
millions.
College Game Day is that Friday, spending the day there with the team and the program. Saturday doing College Game Day. Is he still doing Saturday night games for ESPN ABC?
There's no doubt that he's still on the mic.
I'm looking into that right now, but the fact that Drake said blood thinners, like, could you imagine a TikTok from Herbstreit? Like, yeah, in the morning I wake up, we do 3 eggs, 2 pieces of bacon, and 2 blood thinners, and then and a little alcohol. I hit a quick little cocktail. We hop on the private jet and we're off to wherever the game is that day. Man,
Gotta calm the nerves, man. Flying's not easy.
Landing on flights is always what gets me.
No, I don't even like the concept. Like, I do it just because it's a thing. But like, think about this: an extremely heavy, dense metal
Steel.
dildo containing hundreds of extremely morbid people.
Yeah, pretty.
Is flying through the sky on compressed air. That's crazy.
When you put it that way, the how should I say this? The safety, like the actual risk of actually dying in a plane crash, the way that they've been able to, kind of
Safer than driving a car.
Right. Yeah. It's like, it is a wild concept. I'm there with you, Drake. It's a wild concept. Every time I see, I'm one of those weird guys that looks up in the sky and sees an airplane and goes, somehow, some way, the humans found a way to.
Is it any crazier than a giant piece of metal just floating out in the ocean, just going around the world?
No, that's fucking nuts too. The world's a crazy place, man.
The world is an insane place.
And to
like
echo,
the Titanic is like probably right where it belongs. Right? A big old piece of metal probably belongs at the bottom of the ocean. Right?
Absolutely, 100%, 100%. Speaking of big, giant pieces of metal floating out in the ocean, I watched the Nile Kinnick doc this morning.
I'm not sure that segue. Oh,
it wasn't the best.
That is a really sad segue.
No,
it is. It's the last piece of
too soon
solidarity that he was on.
Too soon. That ain't right.
No, it's not. Yeah. But it was
man. Clue really has it out for Kinnick.
I don't have it out for him, man.
I mean, this guy is making the most insensitive jokes after his documentary drops.
That really wasn't supposed to be a joke. It was just alluding to the fact that Nile was on an aircraft carrier, and that's where he spent some of his time. Great documentary. They were different back then, boys. They were different. If you see the clip there's the clip of him standing in his Letterman's jacket. And I believe it's on the steps of that Capitol building in the Pentecrest. Because they've got the microphone, they're having this rally. I'm not sure exactly what it was for. It might have been the end of the season, or something like that. And not only him, but his teammates, they all step up and say something, and they've got the footage of the boys. Those men were studs. Those men were fucking men.
What were they saying? Yeah.
They didn't say anything.
Oh,
but just the way they looked, the way they had their hair done, just how they presented themselves up there. I thought about some of the teammates that we had.
No one was rocking any mullets up there, or
no, all clean,
not cutting their hair for their entire college experience.
They all looked like. We've seen the pictures. We had Scott on the podcast. Nile was a good looking guy, right? The couple amazing quotes, by the way, from his journals about the ladies in the back half of the documentary.
Oh, I can't wait to watch it.
I'll drop one specifically. One of his journal entries said something along the lines of, I really fancy myself with the female companionship or something these last 3 years. I question why it took so long. He was essentially saying, man, I've been hitting it lately, and I don't know why I waited so long to do it. Dude, it was funny as fuck, man. His journals were something else, but yeah.
I was about to make a horrible joke right there.
Please don't. You already said dick pics on the clip that I put up of that podcast last week.
Hey, I'll bet that clip got a good reaction though.
Yeah, it did some numbies.
Yeah, tip.
great film. Scott talked about finding his cousin, and his cousin really does make that film. I must be getting, I think the mom, right, the female who's carrying the child is supposed to get those pregnancy hormones where she gets like emotional and things get, she cries over random stuff. I think I'm getting that somehow. I think it's,
You hear that? Kluver's absorbing pregnancy hormones, Kevin.
bro, I'm getting soft.
Kluver's just taking straight estrogen.
Dude, it feels like it. I'm getting soft as baby shit over here. Because they open the doc kind of introducing his cousin, who now lives in Phoenix. Actually, they're out in their backyard in the desert, and they're introducing Don and his wife, and they're 90 years old. And he says, "I'm Don, whatever, and this is my partner in life, my friend, my buddy, the boss." And he introduces his wife. He called his wife his buddy. And dude, I'm sitting in the theater like this. I'm starting to tear up. I'm like, fuck, man. These two are just their relationship. It's 3 minutes into the documentary.
It's 3 minutes into the documentary. You still got popcorn left.
Dude.
And you're crying.
I'm like,
popcorn.
I was like, fuck, man. And then there were several times I actually teared up just when they would talk about Nile or that kind of stuff too. I felt like a pretty deep connection of like, man, you see the footage of him playing. They've got footage on there that I've never seen before, and they run the highlights every once in a while, like a couple of the most famous plays of Nile. But it's fun to see him. A couple of plays he scoots for 60 or 70 yards down the field. Like he's dodging, he's third string today, but he's first string back then, and it is what it is. But good doc. Shout out to Scott. Most watched movie at the Waukee movie theater for the past 4 days. Been doing numbies over there too. So they've been doing a good job. Good doc. Definitely would recommend it. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. All right. Drake mentioned it in the intro.
They suck.
We'd be remiss to not talk about it and basically make it the focal point of this episode 346, the opener of game week, Nebraska.
Dude, we honestly should send them a little bit of merch because of how many episodes they've supplied us worth of content.
Seriously. You're right. Drake texted, as you guys know, we've had Jeremiah Searles on the show multiple times over the last couple of years. Big hit guest. One of the fan favorites, actually. We will have him on again this year. Drake texted the group chat between me, him, and Drake and said something along the lines of like, tough one for you guys or tough day or whatever.
I said, ouchies.
Ouchies. And Jeremiah simply responded with, we suck. That's all he said. That's all he said.
Woo!
All he had to say. So aside from the general elation of football being back, I feel it the same as you boys. Just having it on the TV yesterday, I'm sitting there. I've got that fall feeling, man. It feels incredible. You got the announcers going. You got game day going. Yes, Herbstreit's making dumbass picks for, Nebraska to win the West, but it still feels right. And then Nebraska goes out and loses a 1-score game. And you realize that, hey, things are the same here.
Even though we feel like a lot of things have changed in America, things are still the same.
Things are the same. Initial thoughts from you guys on, I don't know if Drake, if you even watched any of the game. Kevin, I'm sure you watched most of it. I watched, I would say 70% of it. What did we think yesterday?
So I watched pretty much all the game.
Yeah.
Not pretty much. I watched all the game. Initial reaction was, despite the loss, Nebraska played cleaner football. Like, no penalties. They did have 3 turnovers though.
Yep.
One of which was, I would call it a forced turnover. It wasn't like a giveaway turnover. The Northwestern guy just made a really good play.
Mm-hmm.
The other was a bad throw, and the last one at the end of the game, doesn't make a difference. Maybe not, but
Hurts.
It seems things were a little slippery at the end there, and just bounced off the guy's hands.
Yeah.
But overall, I think they played cleaner football. However, I think the defense had some hype coming into this year, and I don't think they're nearly athletic as they were advertised, and they kind of got pushed around, albeit by what is supposed to be a pretty good Northwestern offensive line and who played pretty well.
Yep.
But they didn't tackle well in open space.
Bad.
They kind of the linebackers couldn't get off blocks, and yeah, they had no ability to stop the run in the second half whatsoever.
Nothing feels better than watching a black shirt defense get bleached completely fucking white.
Kev, yeah, you're right, Drake.
They were getting run for 8 yards a carry every single time they handed off in the second half. Dude.
I've got the box score up, and I thought about this. How fucking long of a plane ride is it back home to Lincoln?
It's
Ooh,
not a short one,
bro.
Gotta be 10-hour flight,
Dude. It felt bad on a 90-minute ride home if we lost and had to fly home from a Big Ten school. Think about it. Multi-hour flight where you're just sitting there. You're like, fuck, man. We just had this whole thing hyped up. We came to a different country. This is supposed to be the year because every year is supposed to be the year. And we let Fat Tits Gerald steal one from us in Dublin. How about Fat Tits, though?
He's a good coach, man.
He is a
Gotta
good
give
coach.
it to him. He just simply finds a way to win with his teams.
Yeah. There was a fan on Twitter that made a really good point yesterday that I had not considered. And it was if Fat Fitzgerald, and I'll actually say Pat Fitzgerald for respect in this statement. If he was at another Big Ten school, he might be in the midst of building a dynasty. Because at Northwestern, due to the higher standards academically, he probably, and it's hard to quantify this, but he probably has to.
Nobody wanting to play football there. Have you seen their facilities?
It takes long.
They just got new facilities.
Actually, their facilities are dope. It sits right on the Lake.
What about their stadium?
Stadium's trash.
Very bottom third of the Big Ten. But what he has to deal with recruitment wise is he's never going to get the best recruits. And then the recruits that he does get, he has to wait 2-3 years to develop that talent.
Yeah, I mean, they're a developmental program, just like Iowa.
Maybe even more so than Iowa as of late.
Probably, yeah. He's definitely got some hurdles to overcome running that program, and he's done like a really good job. I mean, he's been there for 16 years already, or something like that.
He's a lifelong coach if he wants to be, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, when you're an All-American at the school and you've been there for 16 years already, you're at a program that doesn't have super high expectations. The guy could probably have 4 losing seasons in a row and still not be on the hot seat.
Yeah.
But every other year he's taken the team for the Big Ten championship for the last couple of years. So yeah, he can retire at Northwestern whenever he wants.
16 years.
Yeah, Fitzgerald is like he's like right behind Kirk as like a top 5 in the nation.
That is like insane.
Yeah, he's like number 5 in the country as tenure.
Yeah. So pretty crazy.
He's only in his 40s too. He could go another 30
He's a young guy. Yeah. What's crazy to me is, Kev, I echo your sentiment here. I tweeted out earlier in the game when both of them had scored a touchdown, or maybe it was just in the middle of the second quarter. And I was like, you know what? Nebraska and Northwestern both look better than last year. Not saying a lot, right? That's a low bar because both of these teams went 3-9 last year, but they both look better. Casey Thompson, he got a little worse as the game went on, right?
Yeah, he had a really clean first half. His second half, not so much. I think it started to rain there. It looked like it was wet in the second half.
Could have been. Sounds like a thing that would happen in Europe, but he looks better than Adrian did, right? He looks
no doubt.
He looks confident in the first half.
They got a couple good receivers.
Their tight end Vokalek is a talent.
Did Adrian Martinez graduate already?
Kansas State, bro. He's over at Kansas State now.
Got you.
And, I was thinking like, yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? They should be better. They should be getting better. But on the defensive side of the ball,
blown coverage,
Northwestern
missed a lot of missed tackles, and could not stop the run for their life.
I would love to know how many times Northwestern in the past 2 decades has eclipsed 500 yards of offense.
This is from a team that averaged 16 points a game last year or something stupid like that.
528 yards of offense by the Northwestern Wildcats in game 1. Sometimes you
how many on the ground?
214.
214.
I actually thought it was going to be more than that.
314 in the air, 27 of 38 by Helinski, who's, I mean, that's a great first game for him.
Oh, absolutely. No picks too.
By the way, such another kind of tragic but comeback story for him. His brother was, I believe, I could be getting this wrong, but I'm pretty sure his brother
Washington State
committed suicide 4 years ago, about maybe 5.
I remember hearing about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think
I didn't know that was his brother though.
Yeah. I think he went missing one morning, didn't show up to like camp or didn't show up to like a practice in the summer, and they found him and he had taken his own life. So for that kid to even be running it out there, like that takes him nuts.
Absolutely.
Wearing his brother's number, switch numbers for this year. So huge day by the Northwestern offense.
But I mean, we got to talk about it, right? Is this loss for the Cornhuskers isn't just on the defense. Scott Frost has to take a huge ownership in this one, and a head scratcher of a decision to go onside kick after you just scored 2 unanswered touchdowns.
Absolutely blew my mind when I found that out, because I was out in the garage training. I basically used halftime to train, but it leaked into the third quarter. And so I come back in, and by the time I sit down after a shower, it's the third quarter's ending and it's going into the fourth. And so I kind of catch up on the play-by-play online, and I see that not only did they have
they scored 2 touchdowns within a minute of each other.
Yeah.
And he decides to onside kick it. I was like,
Northwestern comes out of the half, goes 6 plays, has to punt. Nebraska puts together what looks like a great little 8-yard drive or 8-play drive for 88 yards. The first play of the next possession for Northwestern, they fumble, and it only takes 2 plays for Nebraska to score there. They've got all the momentum in the world.
right.
And he decides to go onside kick. Hey, buddy, it's not NCAA 14. This isn't create a player. These games.
It's not first to 50 wins. Yeah.
Power cam for.
Oh, shut up, advertisement.
Yeah. Real head scratcher, wasn't well executed. I don't know if they saw something earlier where the center on the front line was like taken off early and was like, hey, we can catch this guy or something. But
I wanted you to talk about this.
Wasn't even close.
Yeah, I wanted
Give
you
me
to
your
talk.
initial reaction, Kevin. Like when you saw it come off his foot, what did you do?
I was like, why? It was so easily recovered by the guy too. Like he wasn't taken off, run back to go set his block or anything either. He was on it, and it was like, that's huge for Northwestern. They go ahead and score in like 2 minutes, and then it's a 3-point game again or whatever.
I want to explain the psyche or reason behind why you would ever do something like this, because oh my god, I'm gonna fucking murder this thing. So the play here is that in special teams, you're always trying to find the amount of work that you put in film wise as a team is so much more on an offensive or defensive side of the ball, where you really have everything locked up, right? Everything's pretty tip top shape. On special teams, there's a lot of opportunities to kind of catch people, right? If they develop tendencies, which can happen.
Or if there's some sort of flaw in like their punt return team or something like that, like something you can maybe catch them on. If you can steal possession, you're going to try to take advantage of it. But biggest but here has to be the right situation.
It's so situational, right? for example, we had a couple of these when we played, and the one I remember most specifically was Miguel. If their kickoff return team had the front five, the guys closest to the kick team, if their outside guy was in far enough, I believe we had scouted one team, Miguel was going to kind of pooch it over their head and let our guy run underneath it. And it was just too much space. And I think we actually capitalized on it, didn't we?
I think that was the year after we left.
After we played?
2018, they got one, I'm pretty sure.
Yep. And so there's these situations where you do it in an unsuspecting spot. And granted, up 11, 2 scores in a row. Check that box, unsuspecting for sure. But you didn't check all the other boxes. Like, it wasn't there. Most of the time, this would be like, Kev, if the return team is super worried about getting back into their blocks.
No, exactly. Like, front line on kickoff return is one of the hardest jobs to do in
impossible
football. So you'll get guys who will, beat the kick. They'll start retreating to wherever they're going to set their block before the ball is actually kicked. And if you get a guy like that and you like watch him on tape and he's a chronic abuser of that, that's when you can kind of sneak one of those little doinkers on him and
little doinker,
little doinker in there.
Yeah, exactly.
This another example, actually. Colton Rasteter, Ohio State, right? A lot of times, if the punt team all turns their head and starts running with their guy that they're supposed to block, and that punter hasn't put the ball off his foot yet, punter might just pull it and run, right?
Now, gotta understand the situation. Gotta read the room a little.
Now you gotta understand your own limitations as an athlete.
Now, if it's Guttenberg versus 5 stars, that's not the situation, especially when you're up 30.
What a meeting that was, dude. I've never seen somebody more upset about beating the number 3 team in the country in my life. That kid was so unhappy.
So there's I would call it a stipulated situation, right? If the guy who has the last call on the field sees what he needs to see, then it's green light, go. In fact, Kev and Drake, we had a fake against Nebraska. That was one of those situations where we were looking for it based on a defensive look that they gave us. And they didn't give it to us until like
the last,
it was
2015. It was real late in the game too. And oh my God, I remember, I think we called it.
We did.
And they overstacked the side we were running the play to. I'm just like turning around at Josie. I'm just like, just fucking run it over this. It was like, I have no idea what was happening, but they overstacked like the weak side of our punt, which is where we were running the fake to
all game.
And there's like 2 guys with like 4 guys that could block him on the strong side of the formation. I'm just like, I'm looking at Josie like, run it over here. We ended up calling a timeout and punting it away.
So what had happened was all game they're giving us the look that we're like, okay, if they give it to us this many times, then we're going to come out and we're going to run it. And it just so happens we call the fake, and this one call we run out, and all of a sudden they got 3 guys in the gap where we're trying to run the fake to. And if you look at
Troy fucking Palamalu,
they had Ed Reed in the gap we were trying to run it through. It was wild on film, because if we would have just had the mojo to just say flip the call, we had 6
a touchdown.
We had 6 gaps open on the other side of the ball. It was wild.
It was stupid. Yeah.
But
it was such a fun feeling being in the huddle when a trick play was called.
Oh, dude.
It felt so fun.
The electricity that you're about to put on it feels like you're now in the WWE.
Dude, just think about the feeling of when you call it on NCAA football and then amplify that a lot.
Yeah, it fucking matters now. So, bad call by Frost. And you could argue that turned the game.
Well, definitely turned the momentum, right? They had scored 2 touchdowns within a minute off the clock. And Northwestern, you give them 40 yards to respond, they score a quick touchdown, and it's, steadies out the game for them.
Northwestern fights. Yeah.
Go
back to it.
But yeah, overall, again, like you said, Kluper, both teams look improved. Obviously, Northwestern's offense was putrid last year, and they were able to move the ball pretty efficiently. Nebraska's defense, tough. Did not play very well.
Nebraska's defense is not going to be as good this year as they were last year.
Probably not. No.
And Kevin, you can tell me if I'm wrong here, but even just watching Nebraska's defense, it didn't really feel like they had a leader out there. I don't know. It felt a little bit unidentifiable. Like there's just 11 guys out here and they're just kind of playing okay football. Like it wasn't, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I don't know, all that leader bullshit. I don't really super buy into it on the field. But off the field, obviously, but on the field, I'm just worried about playing my best football.
I guess maybe an identity. It didn't feel like they had an identity.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't point to one thing they did particularly well.
Right.
Like they didn't pressure the passer extremely well. They didn't stop the run. They didn't stop the pass. They didn't force turnovers. They had a couple blown coverages. The best thing I can say about Nebraska is they had one penalty yesterday.
They were much cleaner.
Yeah.
Much cleaner.
They had one penalty, and then they had 3 turnovers, which killed them.
Yep.
But one was forced, and one was bad throw, one was bounce off the hand. So if they play cleaner football, they can be a much better team this year.
Does that onside kick count as a turnover? Because it should.
Half a turnover.
Good.
That's a difference of 4 or 5 first downs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's 40 yards. Yeah. From a touchback. Yeah.
So crazy that they played cleaner, and give it to them. They had 440 or so yards of offense as well, right? Like
which makes this comment. You see the comment from Frost is like, I think our offensive staff needs to be more creative. I'm like, you scored 28 points on what's usually a pretty good Northwestern defense.
Yeah.
That's not the problem here.
No.
You gave up 31 points to what's usually a very bad Northwestern offense.
And you know what is the problem is Scott seemingly, it's almost like people were waiting for it. Mark Morehouse and John Miller were both making fun of before the game ended. Boy, I can't wait for Scott Frost post game
to blame somebody else,
to throw somebody under the bus. And he does it again.
Yeah, I think he threw the wrong side of the football under the bus. But that offense could be a pretty good offense this year.
Could be.
If Casey Thompson plays as clean as he did in the first half,
yep,
for the whole game, they probably win. They've got a couple good receivers. I think they got a couple pretty good backs.
They have a good
the
tight
offensive
end.
Line looked like they did their job. So
yeah, it's
for the most part. Yeah.
As an Iowa fan, it's unfortunate to say that Casey Thompson looks noticeably more capable than Adrian Martinez, and that's okay. We don't.
It's a data point of 1, but
right.
It's still a Big Ten football game.
Right. So, in the end, they let a Northwestern Pat Fitzgerald coach team hang around, and you probably don't want to do that. And they found a way to lose the game, and Scott Frost's seat just got a little hotter.
What is the floor for him? What does he have to get to keep his job next year?
I think it's embarrassingly low, actually, still.
You think Scott Frost is still got a job next year?
I think he doesn't get fired this year. My bold take, here's my bold take before we get into actual week 1 of, you guys can come up with a bold take this week as well. We'll do it on the next show. My bold prediction for the Big Ten is that Scott Frost is still the head coach of the Huskers in 2023.
Well, I mean, it's not a bold prediction if he goes 7-5, 8-4. It's a bold prediction if he goes 5-7, 4-8.
How do you feel about him winning 6 games, knowing that he's got 11 and he's 0-1?
I think they can win 6 games.
Their schedule is still favorable.
They got North Dakota, Georgia Southern, then they have Oklahoma. Their crossover games are Indiana, Rutgers, and Michigan. So favorable crossovers in 2 of the 3, and they got 2 cupcake non-conference games. So I think they can get to 6. I think, yeah.
Illinois and I'll tell you what, though, Minnesota, Iowa, Purdue, Wisconsin.
Yeah, they have a tough stretch. They finished with Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa.
That's a tough 4 games.
They're gonna have a tough November. Yeah, for sure.
And you know what happens on Black Friday, dude.
Yeah, we piss.
He might be coaching for his job that day. That's for sure.
Dude,
Oh,
dress in black for their own funeral.
wow, crazy stuff. I dabbled, and I shouldn't do this, but I'm a part of the media now a little bit. We are, so I love to do it. I dabbled in looking at some threads on Twitter of Husker fans. I dabbled in checking a couple message boards. It's pure comedy. It's pure comedy. We've got conversations going on about who they want to take over the job. They're talking about Lane Kiffin. They're talking about.
I don't know if you want that dirtbag.
You probably don't want him. 2, you couldn't get him. Like,
right.
Ole Miss you don't leave Ole Miss to go to Nebraska.
They're talking about Matt Campbell. They're talking about just having Whipple take over as the head guy. It's amazing.
I mean, my biggest issue with Scott Frost is he constantly makes excuses and throws people under the bus.
Yeah, he does not present himself.
Have you ever heard KF say something
ever once
like that?
Not even close.
Yeah.
And it's the number one rule as a head coach.
You know what he'll give? He'll give that's football that fans hate. But how much more do you love that than him throwing a player, throwing in a position group, throwing a coach under the bus?
As a head coach, you have to accept the fact that if things go well,
the buck's got to stop with you, right?
If things go well, the credit goes to the players and your assistants. And if things go poorly, it's your fault. And that is like unwritten rule number 1 as a head coach. If you want to look good in the media and
if you just want to be a decent leader,
right?
That's like, if like any decent leader, that's like the first rule. It's like lead by example, and then don't throw people under the bus.
Well, and the crazy thing is you would think Scott would know this, dude. He was a stud when he played there. Like, he was a leader. He wasn't a great athlete, but he just doesn't exude that. Like, I'm not sure. So
I don't know.
We're going to talk about Nebraska plenty more as the year goes on, because it's a clown show down there over there in Lincoln, and it always provides great content. Is there anything else you want to touch on? There was a few other games. Illinois won by 30, boring. I will say,
Illinois is going to be a better football team this year.
Their running back is
Chase Brown's he's a good running back.
He's good.
I think their defense, they actually had a pretty solid defense last year. I think they'll be a pretty solid defense again this year. They're not just going to be a checkoff win again anymore. I think
unfortunately not.
Yeah.
Which means that the West is completely out of overlook. Like, not that we used to overlook people anyway, but Purdue is Iowa's thorn right now. Illinois
Purdue's going to have a good year, probably.
Purdue's been picked.
Purdue's got our receivers.
Purdue's playing with our players. So, anything else that was fun college information?
I went 1-1-1 in my parlay.
Kevin did have some picks. We did not, because we had some guest episodes, we did not go over it. And Kevin shot those to us the other day. You could talk about those if you want, Kev.
Vanderbilt beat Hawaii by $1 million. I pushed on New Mexico State, Nevada, and then UTEP ended up losing to North Texas.
Yeah. You know, the first games are always tough. You don't know what you're working with. Gets a little easier as you go. So that is, I think, all we need to talk about. If you guys,
funny story from that, I got a jiu-jitsu buddy who was telling me that he's got a friend, huge Nebraska fan, was telling him, Nebraska on the spread is a lock when it was like 14 or whatever it was. And his buddy bet like $1,000 on Nebraska minus 14. So yeah,
well,
go ahead.
I mean, like, so we talked about in the Discord, someone was asking about the games. Like, man, I don't know. Nebraska beat them by 50 last year.
Yeah.
But Northwestern always somehow gets significantly better after their crazy year. So I didn't bet this game, but I'm not surprised by the outcome. But if you told me that they would have covered too, I probably wouldn't have been surprised either.
I wouldn't bet a penny that I found on Nebraska for anything. Couple other funny things. There was in that Nebraska Northwestern game, they had an incredible cup snake going on.
Oh, the beer snake.
The
Yeah,
beer
they had
snake.
a pretty good one going. Did you see that
The internet
the
went down.
stadium's Wi-Fi went out, so they
were
started
giving away free beer.
drinks.
Holy shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Man, I wouldn't mind if the Hawks went out to Ireland and the Wi-Fi went out.
would it be
Wouldn't
cool?
the worst
I was
thing.
thinking about that. There was other people saying like, Iowa, please schedule the Hawks for a game overseas somewhere. And I was like, yeah, that'd be cool. That would be cool.
You'd for sure have to sell some of that equipment that you bought with our money to.
Yeah, no, I'd
get
have to
over there.
pay. I'd have to take out a second loan on my Disney trip to get there, but it'd be cool to go see them play in like one of those the stadium they were in was sick. Like it was cool.
Yeah. I'd what would you guys feel like as a player though?
I would hate it.
I would hate
I
it.
would be so pissed.
I would hate it unless like you played that week 0 and you got a bye week 1.
Yeah, agree.
I think that's the only way I would not hate
Dude, KF would have put us back in camp. He would have been like, yeah, Saturday was just a scrimmage.
All right, well, we got another 2
It's
weeks.
Kids Day. Saturday was
got-
Kids Day.
We got another 2 weeks until our home opener, so we're gonna hit it
Still
pretty
in
hard
camp
this
mode.
week. So we're still in camp mode right now. It's Iowa versus Iowa.
I know we're 1-0, okay, in the fucking stat sheet. All right. But we got 9 on tomorrow. Okay. We still got fucking camp left. All right. You're getting
You know,
snacked.
we got a 12-hour flight ahead of us, so we're going to take advantage of that time. We're going to have position meetings, okay? So make sure you're sitting by your position.
Can you imagine? Oh shit.
We
We're
got TV.
dissecting the film on the flight back just because it's the most efficient usage of time.
Like he hits us with the right before we get on the plane. Are you going to notice that Ben and Fed, they got the TVs going on the plane here? All right. So specialist, you got the back. All right. O-line, D-line. Make sure you're in your fucking group. Okay. Special teams meeting at 6.
We land, it's like 5:35. You go grab a breakfast sandwich and stroll into the special teams meeting.
No sleep. It's fucking unbelievable. So yeah, so there was a couple of cool anecdotes.
Everyone gets dinged because they didn't get their treatment before a special teams meeting.
Yeah. Man, episodes are fun when football is back, and actually
all of a sudden the whole team is on shake list and shit. Breakfast Club is like 85 names long.
fucking we go across the pond, all right, and everybody gets pregnant, all right. The episodes are easier to do when there's football games on TV, and we're excited. The NFL hasn't even started yet, and we're gonna have actually awards winners will be back at the time of this recording. Well, we're not even gonna have awards winners for this first episode, are we?
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna be able to talk about it, but
No, we won't.
We'll pick some.
We'll add them
We'll
in.
throw some out on the gram.
Oh yeah, the
People don't
Instagram will definitely have them. But we're about to record another episode immediately after this one that you're hearing, and that'll be Thursdays with our guy. But if you guys want gold flags, gold Hawks by a Million flags are now available. Limited quantity in this first run. The flags we've been doing, they are double-sided as well, have been the black base with the gold lettering. We've reversed that out for this year. We now are selling both. If you would like a gold HBAM flag, order today on Monday. There's a chance you might have it by Saturday game day, but definitely by week 2. You can go to the washedupwalkons.com or hawksbyamillion.com, find the store tab and navigate your way there. Otherwise, we hope you enjoyed the shit on Nebraska week 0 episode, and we'll be back on Thursday. Peace.